Hare Krishna, everyone. A warm welcome back once again to our ongoing series on the glories of our most beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatarane. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today we're continuing with our mini-series on Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, and this will be part 56. In this lecture, I would like to discuss the fragrance of Krishna's body. We will see that of all the items of stimulation for ecstatic love that we've discussed, for the Brajabasis, the fragrance of Krishna's body is perhaps the most potent and overwhelming. Here's a preview. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Volume 3, Chapter 6, which is entitled The Attainment of All Desires, text number 6. Therein, the devotee Gopakumar is entering Goloka Vrindavan, where he meets Krishna, and Krishna shows him special mercy. Gopakumar says, "In such a way I lived in this grove, this kunja, this most attractive ornament of Vrindavan. And one day, while immersed in an ocean of weeping, I fell unconscious. Then the crest jewel of all who are merciful appeared before me, with his own lotus hand, a hand cool like nectar and always pleased to hold his flute. He wiped the dust from my limbs. It wasn't easy, but that greatest of cheats playfully stirred me back to consciousness by filling my nostrils with his unique, heady fragrances, which I'd never known before." Hare Krishna. There's an example how the Brajabasis, because he became a Brajabasi, are affected by the fragrance of Krishna's body. Now, my dear departed godbrother, Gopi Paranadhana, paraphrases Srila Sanatana Goswami's commentary at that point. He wrote, "Sri Madan Gopal Krishna appeared in person to Gopakumar to award him the highest perfection. Gopakumar was in a deep swoon," it's a nice word, swoon, oblivious to everything around him. But Krishna's presence awakened one of his senses, namely the sense of smell. Krishna, the most expert enchanter, knows very well how to stir the senses of even an unconscious person. Thank you, Gopi. So, just what exactly is the fragrance of Krishna's body? That we know in detail from a pastime of Lord Chaitanya in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's Anti Lila, chapter 19. Therein it's described that on one full moon night in the month of Vaishakha, which is April-May, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the garden called Jagannath Ballabha in Jagannath Puri. Now this garden was full of blossoming trees and creepers exactly like those in Vrindavan. And it's described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami that as he wandered around the garden, Mahaprabhu saw an ashok tree in the distance. And to his amazement and great satisfaction, he suddenly saw Lord Krishna standing beneath that tree. And Lord Chaitanya immediately began running towards the tree. But after a few steps, Krishna smiled and quickly disappeared from under that tree. And in text 88, we hear something really amazing. Krishnera Shri Anga Gandhe Bhariche Udyane Se Gandapana Prabhu Hoila Achatane. Because the entire garden was filled with the scent or the aroma of Lord Krishna's transcendental body, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smelled it and fell unconscious at once. So Gopakumar was awoken by the aroma of Krishna's body, awoken from his unconsciousness, whereas Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smelled that aroma and he fell unconscious. Either way, something amazing. Then, coming to, Mahaprabhu recited a shloka that Srimati Radharani once spoke, describing to her gopi friends how she always hankers for that transcendental aroma of Krishna's body. It's a famous verse, actually. It's in Antya-lila, chapter 19, verse 91. And I found it's also quoted in Govinda Lilamrita 8.6. Sri Radha says, the scent of Krishna's transcendental body surpasses the aroma of musk and attracts the minds of all women. The 8 lotus-like parts of his body distribute the fragrance of lotuses mixed with that of camphor. His body is anointed with aromatic substances like musk, camphor, sandalwood, and a guru. Oh, my dear friend, that personality of Godhead, also known as the enchanter of Cupid, always increases the desire of my nostrils. So, in Radharani's words, we hear specifically exactly what are the particular fragrances in Krishna's form or body. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj goes on to say that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his mind thus stolen by the scent of Krishna's body, ran here and there like a bumblebee. He ran to the trees and plants hoping that Lord Krishna would appear, but instead he only found that beautiful aroma. So I was thinking, one day we also hope to smell the fragrance of Krishna's transcendental form, isn't it? When will that day be ours? But those who will never have that opportunity are most unfortunate. I found in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 233, where Mahaprabhu confirms this. He says, one's nostrils are no better than the bellows of a blacksmith. If one has not smelled the fragrance of Krishna's body, which is like the aroma of musk combined with that of the bluish lotus flower. Indeed, such combinations are actually defeated by the aroma of Krishna's body. Mahaprabhu. Now, devotees may not be so familiar with all of these, or some of you, any of these scents or perfumes. So I thought to take a moment to explain a little bit about them. It will help us appreciate Krishna more before we move on. So to begin with, what is a guru? A guru, or a guru oil we have today. Its modern name is agarwood. And it's explained in Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, it's said to produce a natural fragrance. Just the tree is always producing. All the aguru trees are, aguru wood trees are producing this wonderful fragrance. However, in this world, not all aguru or agarwood trees produce the fragrance. I was reading, 1 out of thousands of agarwood trees gets infected accidentally by a parasitic mold. And in response to this infection, that one particular tree starts to produce a resin which has this particular fragrance that is desired. And this resin slowly grows inside the entire tree over the years, and after many years, it becomes the tree from which a guru oil is produced. And in modern world and modern society, this aguru oil, which people use, but devotees like to use it for their deities, it's extremely expensive. up to $100,000 per kilo, I read. As a result, there's many imitation agarwood fragrances available for a lesser price, but how could you say? They're not the real deal. Hare Krishna. So now what is musk? Oh, we've heard of musk, but actually real musk is extremely rare to be found today. And like aguro oil, there are many imitations. You can get cheap perfumes that they say are musk. But actually, many of you will be surprised to learn that real musk is produced by a species of deer called white-bellied musk deer, who are found actually only in the Himalayan mountains. And actually they're an endangered species today, unfortunately. So these beautiful deer produce what they call musk pods, little pods with tiny granules of musk inside. And when these deer die naturally, this pod with small granules of musk is extracted from the navel of the deer. Now, I also read that in olden times and ancient times, pujaris or mahants of temples or even sadhus, they could take a small silver spoon and they could place it inside the navel without hurting the deer, the male deer inside the navel, and bring forth these pods with the granules of musk inside. Somehow they would do like that without hurting the deer. Of course, that's not done anymore. I was reading in the Encyclopedia Britannica that a small grain of real deer musk can scent millions of cubic feet of air. That aroma can scent millions of cubic feet of air. Actually, I have a little experience of this in a tiny way because about a year ago, one sadhu gave me a few granules of actual musk. He said it was 100 years old or something. He gave me a few. And as I walked into his bhajan kutir, I could smell. There were just a few there. And he gave them to me. And this kavacha, which I explained to you a couple months ago, holds many precious items, cloth of different sadhus and Srila Prabhupada's hair and, different special items I have in here. And I opened it up and I put these granules of musk inside. And even as I'm sitting here, I can smell the musk. Somehow it comes through the metal. So potent it is. It's almost mystical. And, so that's how musk is obtained. And the acharyas say, interestingly enough, that in the spiritual world, musk is produced simply by the potency of yoga maya. They don't have to go through this whole process with these beautiful deer. Musk is produced by the potency of yoga maya. Now our beloved Rupa Goswami actually, he mentions deer musk on Krishna's persona in his Padyavali, verse 165. Actually, a gopi is speaking about her contact with Krishna. She says, "Dear Saki, first I saw a splendid blue effulgence. Then I smelled the fragrance of deer musk. Then I heard playful flute music. Then I heard the sweet tinkling of a sash of bells. Then I saw waves of wonderful handsomeness encircled by a stationary lightning flash." Poetry. "As a result of this, I experienced immense natural bliss within myself." So you note that in the very beginning, then I smelled the fragrance of deer musk. Srimati Radharani. Now, camphor. Actually, real camphor is produced only from the camphor tree. And the wooden chips of this tree are roasted and condensed, and then this gives off a certain vapor There's a certain process which, in that way, it's collected. But I was reading that by the early 19th century, almost all camphor-producing trees had been depleted by deforestation, unfortunately. So nowadays, most camphor is produced from turpentine. Hare Krishna. Now finally, sandalwood. Sandalwood's probably the most known of the fragrance of Krishna's transcendental body, but actually, real sandalwood has also become somewhat of a rare item in modern times, also due to deforestation. And Srila Prabhupada refers to this fact in a letter I found to my godbrother, Nayana Biram Das, on August 22nd, 1971. Prabhupada writes, Malayan sandalwood is famous as grown in Malaya, but nowadays in Malaya there's only rubber trees. But still in the market, sandalwood is known as Malayan sandalwood. Prabhupada. In ancient times, sandalwood was also highly valued, of course, and to some extent, even a rare commodity then. Chanaka Pandit writes in Niti Shastra, 2nd chapter, verse 9, Shaile Shaile Cha Manikyam Muktikam Na Gaje Gaje Sadavo Na Hi Sarvatra Chandanam Na Vane Vane. It's really nice. There does not exist a ruby in every mountain, nor a pearl on the head of every elephant. Neither are sadhus to be found everywhere, nor sandalwood in every forest. That's another one of my favorites. There does not exist a ruby in every mountain, nor a pearl on the head of every elephant. Neither are sadhus to be found everywhere, nor sandalwood in every forest. An interesting fact about sandalwood paste, it keeps one cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And according, again, to Chanaka Pandit, in his Kotila Atha Shastra, sandalwood, referred to as chandan in Sanskrit, comes in various colors. Rakta, red, Rakta Krishna, reddish black, Rakta Sweta, reddish white, Harita, greenish, Rakta Pita, yellowish red, and Sweta, pure white. Haven't seen all of those, but they exist. And last year, I read how Vaishnava poets often use analogies of sandalwood in reference to the cooling effect of the association of sadhus for all of us, while we burn in the fire of material existence. The poet Paramananda Das, for example, he writes in Brajbas, Shri Balaba Nadana Sabjaga Vadhana Shetal Chandana Tapaharana. Quote, the son of Balaba, Jiva Goswami, is worshipped by everyone because he is the one who steals the fire burning in the material world and applies cooling sandalwood paste on the forehead to give bliss. There's another verse by an anonymous author which I really like. Chandanam shitalam loke, chandan adapi chandrama, chandra chandan ayor madhye, shitala sharugangati. On this planet, the intrinsic nature of sandalwood is that it's very cooling amongst other refrigerants. More cooling than sandalwood, however, is the moon. And even more cooling than sandalwood and the moon is the association of a sadhu. Hare Krishna. So, as we were discussing in Vrindavan Leela, all these fragrances are mixed and applied to Krishna's body. And this creates an aroma that steals away the minds of the gopis. Now, we have already heard how the chief gopi, Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani, swoons from the fragrance of Krishna's form. But more can be said. More can be said. For the acharyas say, to satisfy her constant longing for the sweet fragrance of Krishna's transcendental limbs, Radharani sometimes smears her own limbs with musk oil and thinks, Krishna is just beside me. Krishna is just beside me. And when she smears scented oil such as rose oil on her limbs, she appears to Krishna as a walking bouquet of roses. And Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati further elaborates in his Radharasa Sudhanidhi, text number 2. When the aromatic breeze from the edge of Radharani's garment touches Krishna, he whom liberated yogis fail to attain thinks his life has now become a success. When the aromatic breeze from the edge of Radha's garment touches Krishna, he whom liberated yogis fail to attain thinks his life a success. Now, while preparing this lecture, I remembered how about 3 years ago we discussed in our Vrindavan series where exactly Radha and Krishna procure or get all these amazingly wonderful scented fragrant oils. And I thought it worthy of repetition. So these divine aromas, these perfumes, etc., come from a place in Vrindavan called Gandharva Kunja. Gandharva Kunja, or sometimes Gandeshwara. And there, Vrindavan's perfume makers, they keep flower gardens within this kunj and make these scents or these aromas from the seasonal blossoms. Seasonal blossoms. And while herding their cows, Krishna, his cowherd friends, sometimes they come to Gandharva Kunj to test the available scents, the acharyas say, to test the available aromas. It's said that the boys are happy with any of these scents, but Krishna is only interested in the ones that will attract Sri Radha. And once, while visiting Gandharva Kunj, Krishna took his friend Shubal aside and asked, "Friend, I'm looking for a magic potion, the aroma of which will subdue Sri Radha's contrary nature and make her surrender to me. Which one of these will do?" So on Subal's advice, Krishna tried one perfume, putting some on his body, and took it with him. It's written that the cowherd boys, always eager to imitate Krishna's ways, also dubbed themselves with the same perfume, later on to the amusement of their parents when they got home. Like, what are you boys doing? You smell some perfume, you're wearing perfume. To the amusement of their parents when they got home. Another time, Krishna took the best perfumes available at Gandharva Kunj, and in a desperate bid to attain Radha's company, disguised himself as a female perfume merchant. And in this way he was able to gain entrance to Radha's palace and show her samples of his perfumed oils. The acharyas say that in this way he was not only able to sell her some perfumes, but he also personally got the opportunity to apply them to her wrists. Hare Krishna. Here's a beautiful remark that Srimati Radharani said to one of her intimate gopi friends. "O Saki, what shall I say to you? I have fallen in love with Krishna. My body and heart, careless of dharma, are wild after him. Since his handsome form filled my eyes, I haven't been able to see anything else. My bodily hairs stand on end, And since I first heard his flute song, I haven't been able to hear anything else. My nose is wild after the fragrance of his body. My tongue will speak nothing but his name, and my heart simply searches after more of his virtuous qualities, causing disturbances throughout my body. My husband and elders see all these symptoms and rebuke me. I pray to the sun god to conceal the meaning of my irrepressible smile, and I count the moments to the next meeting with my lover. Coming to the close of the day's talk, I'd like to share a beautiful pastime, again related to this beautiful fragrance from Krishna's form. One day, Srimati Radharani had a scheduled meeting with Krishna in a beautiful grove, not too far away from the palace where she lived at Yavat, with her husband, I'll remind you, with her mother-in-law, Jatila, and her sister-in-law, Kutila, all of whom were always, as you know, on the lookout that she didn't meet secretly with Krishna. So one day, Radharani made an excuse to all of them that she was going to pick flowers outside the palace. Now, Jatila initially agreed, but as the day progressed, Radha had gone out, but as the day progressed, she began to worry that Radha was gone for a long time, so maybe, just maybe, she was meeting with Krishna. So she sent her daughter, Kutila, to scout around the area outside, in the fields, and the pastures, and the forests, to see if Radha and Krishna were meeting. Now, in time, Kutila actually came to the place where Radha and Krishna were together. She came near to that. But Purnamasi had arranged that Shri Radha had posted several of her gopi friends as lookouts. So when they spotted Kutila coming, they ran to tell Radha and Krishna. So Radha and Krishna very cleverly hid themselves in a nearby forest. But the acharyas say there's always a problem in Krishna hiding somewhere. And what's that? It's that he can be easily discovered because his transcendental body is extremely fragrant. And that fragrance pervades an area. So, actually, in fact, it's said that when Krishna leaves a place, his distinctive aroma or fragrance stays in that place for at least a danda. So I checked what a danda is, 20 minutes. Krishna may be somewhere, but when he leaves, the transcendental fragrance of his body stays for 20 minutes. Wow. So now when Kutila came upon the scene where Radha and Krishna were hiding, she smelled Krishna's sweet fragrance. And she said out loud, I know Shyam is here somewhere nearby. So in hearing this, Radha and Krishna are hiding, but they quickly devised a new plan. And a minute later, Radharani came out of the forest with a basket of flowers, slowly, as if she'd been just picking some flowers. But due to this pervading strong aroma of Krishna's form, Kutila said, Shri Radha, I know Shyam is here. You've probably been meeting him. But as we know, Sanskrit words have different meanings. So Shyam, or Krishna as we know him, can also mean nighttime, the word Shyam. So Radharani said to Kutila, "Oh Kutila, no, the night is no longer here. You can see, morning is coming, the sun is shining." So Kutila got very frustrated and she said, "Radha, I mean Hari," another name of Krishna, he who takes away all inauspiciousness. Hari's nearby, I can smell him. But in Sanskrit, the word Hari can also mean lion. So clever Shri Radha, with a smile on her face, she said, "Oh Kutila, you smell a lion? You have saved our lives. Thank you. We must all leave immediately." And sure enough, seeing that she was not making any progress, Kutila stomped off, left. So, such are the wonderful, blissful pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So I would actually like to close today with a beautiful verse I found in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 1. Actually, it's 2 verses, 6 and 7, revealing the overall exquisite beauty of our beloved Lord Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam. Therein it's written, and it's so nice. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the reservoir of all beauty. All beautiful things emanate from him, and his personal form is so attractive that it steals the eyes away from all other objects, which then seem devoid of beauty in comparison to him. When Lord Krishna was on the earth, he attracted the eyes of all people. When Krishna spoke, his words attracted the minds of all who remembered them. By seeing the footsteps of Lord Krishna, people became attracted to him, and thus they wanted to offer their bodily activities to the Lord as his followers. In this way, Krishna very easily spread his glories, which are sung throughout the world by the most sublime and essential Vedic verses. Lord Krishna considered that simply by hearing and chanting those glories, conditioned souls born in the future would cross beyond the darkness of ignorance. Being satisfied by this arrangement, he left for his desired destination. Hare Krishna. He was thinking about us in the future. Thank you, Krishna. Wow. So there you have it, the beautiful fragrance from Krishna's transcendental form. Thank you, Prabhus. And we're back next Friday. I think next Friday we'll discuss the transcendental fragrance of Srimati Radharani's form, all by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Jai Jai Sri Sri Radhe Shyam. See you soon.